Now we're moving on, aren't we, Vicky, to a man with a van?
Well, yes, and this is a really interesting conversation. Richard Bunn of White Hot Vans is actually a member of BNI in St Albans. He's also a chair of BNI at St Albans, but this is his sort of personal opinion. He's not speaking as chair. He's been involved with BNI for a while, but what was his motivation for joining?
Well, White Hot Vans has established a niche supplying and leasing brand new vans to skilled tradespeople, and we supply all over the country. But one of the reasons BNI came into play is because we were wondering how we could crack the local market. We just weren't doing enough business locally, and I was actually invited along to a BNI meeting by somebody. Had sent me a postcard inviting me to a meeting. I went along. I didn't really like that meeting, because obviously it does depend on the individuals in the meeting. So I went to a different group and the next week and joined that week. And I would estimate that this year we will probably do around £1 million worth of turnover just from BNI referrals, which has become a major part of our business now. So it's for us a great story, because BNI tends to be a large part of the membership will be tradespeople. And obviously, with us selling brand new vans to tradespeople, there's a huge tranche of people within the room that we can supply to. So it's worked perfectly for us over the last couple of years.
Now, you mentioned that the first group that you went to, it didn't feel as though it was for you. Why was that?
Well, I think with everything, it does depend who the members are of any group. So, I mean, I always liken BNI to the sport, and it's a bit. I play rugby, and some rugby clubs I would go and play for, and you just don't fit. The membership's not quite right for you. The mix of people's not right, and the style might not be right. Go to a different rugby club, and you fit. And it can be the same with BNI. Obviously, my group has got 40 different people in there. They're 40 different individuals, and another group in another area might not work for you. And until you go and see, you don't know.
What sort of businesses? You mentioned there's a lot of trade people within the BNI group. Is it specifically for trade, or does it suit other types of businesses as well?
No, it's for any business. I mean, we've got such a diverse range in our group. We've got the normal plumber, electrician, builder, and so on. But we've also got a tailor. We've got a lady who has hospitality, London Red buses, which is not, it's probably not even a category that exists on the BNI list. But it works for the individual rather than the business. If it's the right individual and you can position yourself correctly and you can understand how best to get something out of your membership, it works really well. The wrong individual with the right business, it won't work for. If that makes sense.
Yes, no, I can imagine. So some of it's down to being in the right group. Some of it's about understanding how to pitch your business to the rest of the group. What are the downsides of BNI? Are there any downsides to BNI?
There are. I mean, there's a lot of commitment in time. It's the cost of membership becomes negligible if you get business out of it. It's really about the time commitment, and you have to go every week. Not just because you are committed to do that, because if you don't, you'll never get any relationships going with the people in the room. That's how it differs from most other networking. So I do other networking as well. I'm not just a BNI man, but BNI is the most successful. So the downside is if you can't find the time to commit, or if you've got young children and you can't go first thing in the morning, then it might not fit for you personally. There isn't really a downside in terms of the way the system works, the way BNI works, what you can get out of it. It's just whether you can actually commit to the time you need to get the most from it.
You mentioned other networking. What other networking do you do to complement your BNI membership?
There's another group called Viva, run by a lady called Debbie Gilbert, which is actually...
Yeah, we've had Debbie on the show a few times.
Yes, lovely lady, and that's a really good networking group. But often it's lunch times because it accommodates women with children, particularly, so it works well. And there's a good mix of businesses. You're never quite sure who's going to be there, and Debbie runs a good meeting, so that's worked quite well for us. We've actually had good business from that. I'm in the IOD. I'm in the FSB as well.
Are you? Can I just have one line on each of those then, given that I think we've got clips from both of those on the show tonight?
Okay, I mean, generally the experience is from those that the membership is more professional rather than trade or SME based, I would say. I mean, there'll obviously be a mix of people, but the IOD, I've been in the IOD for probably knocking on 10 years, and when I joined, I was director of a big UK company, and I just kept my membership. but when I joined, it was working for a big PLC. And I think there's more of the clientele in the IOD are that end of the spectrum rather than the one-man band sole trader end of the spectrum, I would say, because you have to have, I think the IOD, when I joined, you had to have a minimum turnover of a certain amount. So it necessitates being a business of a certain size, so it's obviously a different mix of people. FSB, we joined more to have the umbrella of what they offer in terms of legal services and contacts with, credit card companies, that sort of thing. We didn't join to network, really. We joined more of a sort of secure umbrella over us, and it looks good if we're a member of it, rather than just for networking.
Okay, that was Richard Bunn of both White Hot Vans and a member of BNI in St Albans.